I don't know exactly what you would pull out, but like I was thinking about the Hydra, with its many heads, and in our current context, how, people strike a blow to, getting rid of the constitutional right to an abortion. And then they think they've won the entire battle when they don't even know what they're battling against, really. But you tell me what you had in mind.
I mean, in the abstract, what he's laying out is that you can have these people that seemingly agree and seemingly want to fix the world, and yet most of the people are doing it for shallow reasons, and therefore they don't see the various contradictions. Like, okay, Dobbs has overturned Roe versus Wade. Does that mean every state gets to decide on what their abortion regulation is? And then does it mean that they could actually be more lax than Roe was? And then if so, is that a victory or is it not? And, or similarly, for the guy who emailed me, okay, you think communism is bad? You think maybe it was defeated or maybe not, but like compared to what?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to, is capitalism fine? Because really you're just a kind of counter-revolutionary who has meanwhile accepted, whatever comes out of neoliberalism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That he really describes the sort of shallow conservatism that a lot of people have, where it's just my little world, what I perceive to be important at the moment. That's what I want to keep, right? Without any sort of overarching understanding of why, what ought to be defended, or why it ought to be defended. And that's what gets us into trouble with things like, well, the abortion issue for sure. Because I mean, yeah, like it's never a victory to turn a very important moral question over to a democratic vote on any given year. It just isn't.
Mm-hmm. Which you would think that seems to be more or less the proper Catholic stance. And yet there were a lot of Catholics celebrating this.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Can I read just a couple more paragraphs from another section?
Yeah, sure.
It directly connects.
Okay.
So that was section C. This is section E. It's called interaction. Shallow and profound, secular and religious. He talks about how that was another distinction. There were some secular counter-revolutionaries and the religious ones. And of course, the religious ones are also divided. But shallow and profound, secular and religious denote distinctions that need to be made intellectually in order to present the arguments crucial to understanding the development of counter-revolutionary thought and action. Still, the reader must note that it is impossible to erect impenetrable walls between the various groups mentioned. Each had its influence on the others. Indeed, in practice, counter-revolutionaries sometimes moved back and forth from one to another of these camps, just as individual men can move from one attitude to another often contradictory one in the course of their normal troubled lives. Nevertheless, the main point remains the same. The tensions that resulted from such divisions prevented the counter-revolutionaries as a whole from acting cohesively over any length of time. Most importantly, they prevented it from turning to account its most telling intellectual point, the innate contradiction and self-deception of the revolutionary mentality. It was precisely this living lie of the revolution that was to be the chief focus of thinkers in the Catholic counter-revolutionary ranks. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is if we're right that most people are inherently anti-revolutionary, and yet more and more people have these they want some sort of revolution along the lines that they imagine. So they might think, yeah, I want to live in a world without plastic or without abortion or where we fix climate change or whatever. But they never go past that point to like, well, I guess I'm going to have to work with other people to make that vision a reality.
Right. They don't like see the bigger picture that you can't continue to live the way you are and achieve those goals, whether it's abortion or climate change, right? You can't live in a world, for instance, where men and women both are expected to work full time, have, achieve the middle class lifestyle or above, have a certain, therefore degree of, I mean, that's the ideal anyway, degree of material well-being, consume a bunch of stuff. You can't have that whole ball of wax, and not have the abortion problem, because in order to take care of women and children such that this is not needed would require a very tight-knit society where people trusted each other. And likewise, to prevent further damage to our environment, we'd have to value something that is our human relations, God, the immaterial things like love, far more than our stuff. And travel even. Okay. Like our cars, our planes, like we would have to change our entire value system and way of life. And that's what they don't want to see. They want to think, well, we can pass this, protocol at the international level, right? If we just push our government to do that, we'll still be able to get all the things that we currently have and keep living the way we are, and also stop this problem. But it's all...
And it's that shallow versus profound.
Right.
Yeah. And it's such a good sentence. I just want to read it again. The tensions that resulted from such divisions prevented the counter-revolutionaries as a whole from acting cohesively for over any length of time.